My name is Dr. Bayan Hussain, and I am honored to be one of your MCs for the night.
And my name is Dr. Salma Kiani, and I'm also pleased to join you as your co-MC for tonight's event. Before we get started, we'd like to begin the evening by calling on the respected Sheikh Ahmed Bedli to recite some ayahs from the Holy Quran. Sheikh Ahmed is a visionary behind Al-Shatibi Quran Institute, presently one of the largest educational programs at the Al Rashid Mosque, boasting over 700 registered students to date. Alhamdulillah, more than 50 young students have successfully memorized the Holy Quran under his guidance. Sheikh Ahmed plays a pivotal role at the Al-Hafad Academy and is actively involved in teaching the Quran at the Edmonton Islamic Academy. Sheikh Ahmed Bedli.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. ولا تكونوا كالذين نسوا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم أولئك هم الفاسقون. لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة. أصحاب الجنة هم الفائزون. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله. وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر هو الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم آمنت بالله صدق الله العظيم الفاتحة
Jazakumullah khair for that beautiful, Sheikh, for that beautiful recitation. First and foremost, we'd like to give a little background about ourselves and share with you all our personal connection with the Edmonton Islamic Academy. A little about myself. I went to the University of Alberta. I earned my Bachelor's of Medical Sciences and went on to pursue my degree in dentistry. I graduated from dental school in 2011. I own a dental practice in Edmonton called Northside Dental for almost 12 years now, and I've been blessed with 4 kids in between all that. It is extra special for me to stand in front of you all here today because I myself am an alumni of the Edmonton Islamic Academy. I started my journey here over 30 years ago, started in kindergarten, and was among one of the first generation of students to be attending and graduating from the Edmonton Islamic Academy. Back then, it was a small group of dedicated volunteers and educators who had a dream. That dream that started at the basement of Al-Rashid Mosque was to build the best school in Edmonton that also taught our kids to be righteous, proud Muslims. Early foundations set right at the beginning are so important. Things like prayer and fasting become part of your daily routine. Islam becomes a way of life. Muslim role models are important, and that is what we're giving our kids at our schools, something invaluable. At that time, the school was small and under-resourced, but I don't regret a second of it. I have memories of doing science experiments in the kitchen. We used to wear mismatched school uniforms, and there was only one boy in all of junior high. But because of my school experience at the Edmonton Islamic Academy, I've never wavered in my Muslim identity. The passion and guidance of the early founders and educators of the school is what I attribute my success as a Canadian Muslim woman. Now, 30 years later, that dream isn't over. In fact, that dream continues to grow. Now, 30 years later, I'm sending my own kids to the Edmonton Islamic Academy. And instead of a small group of dedicated people, it's thousands of dedicated people supporting the school. And I see many of them here today, mashallah. And all of you being here today are part of the dream. Brothers and sisters, look how far we've come. I mean, look at this place, mashallah. Every time I drop off my own kids, I marvel at the growth of our institution. And I'm not only talking about the building itself, but also the quality of our Islamic education now versus then. And I'm so beyond grateful for our community that pulled together back in the 80s. And I know our kids will be just as grateful for us coming together and doing this again today.
Thank you, Bian. That was wonderful. I would love to share pieces of my own connection. Born and raised in Northside Edmonton, Al-Rashid served as my primary prayer and congregation space. I moved to the US where I earned my doctorate of optometry in Texas. Following that, I completed my residency in Baltimore before joining the faculty at University of Maryland School of Medicine. I received several awards, including Baltimore's Top Doctor 2018 and 2021. Currently, I'm the Alberta representative of the Canadian College of Specialties in Optometry and faculty of the Academy of Ophthalmic Education. I'm the owner of Greater Edmonton Eye Care. While living in the US, I valued my experiences, but something was missing. Interestingly, in Baltimore, finding a school that aligned with my Muslim values and maintained a high academic standards was a challenge. I soon realized that was my missing puzzle piece. It was during my second mat leave, after visiting the Edmonton Islamic Academy, that my husband and I decided the time had come for our son Adam to attend EIA. We left our steady lives, packed our bags, and here we are today. Our decision to return to Edmonton was significantly influenced by the presence of the Edmonton Islamic Academy. For over 5 years, I've served on the EIA Board of Trustees, collaborating with more than 14 members representing our community. I'm the lead of the Funds and Development Committee, as well as the Anti-Racism Committee, alongside with Mr. Aboudash. My children currently attend EIA, inshallah my third will join as well. The significance of this new school extends beyond personal considerations. It is crucial for our community.
Thank you so much. We know our stories are not unique and that many of you share in our experiences and have hopes and dreams for your own children. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to bless and guide us in fulfilling our goals for our children in this dunya and the next. We have an exciting evening planned ahead, including some opening remarks, and then dinner and prayer will happen shortly after, followed by the fundraising portion, and then a fireside chat with our esteemed guests, Sean King and Khaled Beydoun, and we'll conclude on a light note with a comedy show by Amir Zahir.
All right, now let's kick off by introducing the project lead for the new elementary, Dr. Farhan Chuck. We are so privileged to have someone like Dr. Chuck with his expertise and accomplishments leading this project. I've had the pleasure of knowing Dr. Chuck, aka Farhan Bhai, and his family for over 25 years, and our connection has evolved into a bond like that of a knowing little sister. Dr. Chuck currently serves as a leadership and outreach specialist at the Islamic Relief Canada. Additionally, he holds a position as visiting research faculty at Georgetown University. He has worked at the United Nations, the Canadian Parliament, TRT World, and Qatar University. He has engaged in consultancy services to the governments of Turkey, Pakistan, Azerbaijan, Qatar, and Afghanistan. He is a regular opinion writer for Al Jazeera, Middle East Eye, Daily Sabah, and TRT World. He is a talented writer with many books, some being top sellers on Amazon. So please make sure you guys buy his book, Dr. Farhan Chuck, everyone.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I want to give all of you a round of applause for coming tonight. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, we come here today for a shared dream. A dream in which a different world is possible. A dream where genocide is not normalized. A dream where our children will not be judged before they're heard. That's the dream, and that's the dream that pushes me to work hard for you, for our kids, in a system that's broken, in a system that does not respect the words and the convictions that they claim to have. And it starts with education. It starts with a commitment to live up to that education. A commitment that we will treat everybody equal under the law, and we have the right to express our values, even if others may disagree. And we cherish those values. And those values have been in Canada for over 150 years, as this is the home of the first mosque in North America. So brothers, yes, you deserve that. You know, at the risk of seeming ridiculous, true activists are moved by great feelings of love. For those who have been left out, for those marginalized, for those communities of color who perhaps never had a chance. And so what brings us here today is that dream that we are going to create those institutions in which those values will be espoused. And as you know, we have a fantastic program here for you all. I want to thank you for coming and participating in something that many people thought is not possible. So thank you, everybody, and enjoy the evening.
Jazakumullah khair for that, Dr. Chuck. Our next speaker is someone we're truly fortunate to have as a guiding force behind our school, representing all of us. Mr. Aboulouche has served as the principal of the Edmonton Islamic Academy since 2017. An esteemed educator and school leader, he graduated with a Bachelor of Education from the University of Alberta in 2002. He earned a Master's of Education from the University of Southern Queensland in 2009, and with over 20 years of experience, both here and overseas, he returned to Edmonton in 2017, where he assumed the role of Principal of the Edmonton Islamic Academy. Under his leadership, the Edmonton Islamic Academy achieved recognition as the top high school in Edmonton and among the top 5 in Alberta. Committed to providing a high-quality program enriched with Islamic values, intercultural understanding, and community leadership, Mr. Aboulouche passionately upholds Edmonton Islamic Academy's mission and vision. I'd like to invite Mr. Aboulouche to join us on the stage.
Wow. That was quite the introduction. Usually all I get is, oh look, there's our red-headed principal, Mr. Aboulouche. Thank you for that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Good evening, everybody. And I would also like to welcome you here this evening. I'm so honored to be with you this evening with immense pride and excitement as we embark on a journey that holds the promise of transforming lives and empowering our community like never ever before. This event is not just about raising funds for a new school. It's about creating an education center for all Muslims to live, to learn, and to worship together. This ambitious initiative is going to impact our community and our ummah today and for future generations. But let's face it, this new school project is an absolute necessity. Pick your storyline, pick your rationale. The challenges Muslim children are facing in public education, the waiting list of over 1,000 children, many of which are little brothers and little sisters of students who come here each and every day. The rise in atheism across the nation. Even our internal growth is a concern. And the fact that our high school is projected to reach 70% over capacity by 2025. The list goes on and on. And the need for Islamic education is more obvious now than it was before. 20 years ago, some of you or your parents attended fundraising events to build what is now the largest Islamic school on the continent and the top performing school in our city. Our wall of honor, those names etched on the top of every door of every classroom in this school, and most importantly, your scale with Allah recognizes the generosity of this community. Because of your investment in our community, we have a generation of Muslims who have learned to read and memorize the Holy Quran, including over 50 Hafadh graduates. Because of your investment, your child comes home each and every day with a new dua or a new nasheed to share with you. Because of your investment, thousands of Muslims have access to quality Islamic education. The Edmonton Islamic Academy has transformed the education landscape here in Edmonton. Since unveiling the new elementary campus design, people have approached us and they've asked good questions. $80 million? Why can't we build something for less? Can't we find other alternatives? We appreciate these inquiries, and we're always open to discussing our project with anyone. But I hope to bring some clarity to why we've reached where we are here today. Let me explain why we have gone with this particular design and why the architects estimated to cost $80 million. When we began the process of exploring the idea of a new school expansion, the first thing we did, the very first thing that we did, was we contacted both Edmonton Public and Edmonton Catholic. And we asked these boards if they had any surplus schools, because our plan was to purchase a surplus school from either of the two divisions. Edmonton Catholic confirmed that they do not have any surplus schools, nor were they expecting to have any in the near future. On the other hand, Edmonton Public, they have a policy that not a lot of people know about. This policy refuses to issue surplus schools to private independent schools like ours. Rather, they issue surplus schools in the following manner. So if they have a surplus school, the first thing they do is they contact the Catholic system. We have a surplus school. Do you need it? No. Then they go to the Francophone school system. We have a surplus school. Do you need it? No. Then they ask the charter schools. Do you need it? No. Well, let's ask the alternative schools. Do you need our surplus school? No. And if none of those options in our education system here in Alberta require or have a need for that school, then it goes to the City of Edmonton for repurposing, i.e. maybe additional housing. If the City of Edmonton then decides we actually don't need this surplus school, then and only then is that school available for bid. And that's when we can try to purchase a school, a surplus school. But let's face it, everybody, the odds of doing that, of getting to where we need it to be are quite low. It's not a system that's favorable to us, and it's something that I personally addressed through my role with ARCA with the Minister of Education, the past Minister, Adriana Lagrange, and the current Minister of Education, Minister Nicolaitis. And we've even had discussions with Premier Smith about how this restricts private schools like ours from attaining these surplus schools. I still hope to lobby the government to change this in the future. When we realized that buying a school was not an option, the next step was to find a commercial building. Maybe something that we can ourselves repurpose and make into a school. And that would meet our needs, but frankly speaking, we were unable to find any quality property that would meet the needs of the high quality elementary program that we need for our kids. We do not need a warehouse to be turned into classrooms. We need to develop a community hub that is not just the envy of other private schools in the area, but a facility that would allow us to continue to be trailblazers of Islamic education across this very nation. Some suggested, why would you not take that money and build several smaller schools? According to our engineers and our architects, a standard school of about 500 students would cost upwards of $40 million. If we had a $40 million, 500 student school, that would not even come close to meeting our needs. It would not be a good investment. It would not solve our problems. This new school design that we unveiled to you is a leading edge facility that is the size of 2 or 3 average schools combined under one roof and for 2/3 the cost. It was clear to us that building a new school was the best option. And through 2 years of consultation with architects and experts, we initiated a thorough process to get to this point. We toured multiple schools around the city of Edmonton, and we took the best parts of each of them. We analyzed our own school and facility here at EIA and highlighted what works well and what would we keep, and what hasn't worked so well and what can we change. We gathered teacher, parent, and community input into the design and the programming needs. We included educational research on 21st century learning and learning environments. And in the end, after analyzing all of our needs, the architects designed our new elementary campus, which will include 80 classrooms. This school has 56. A room for 1,700 students, a male and female mosque, proper, intended Islamic and Arabic centers, 2 large gymnasiums that will host 5 classes at a time, a 21st century learning resource center, formerly known as a library, a basement for future expansion, roads that connect the elementary school with this soon-to-be secondary campus, multiple grade-level learning communities and learning commons, specialized service areas, spaces, and resources, and after much consultation with our traffic specialists, a parking lot that will finally meet our needs. Yes, the cost is high, but the quality of what we dreamt of is equally high. Pedagogically speaking, our current school design has, this school here, it has its limitations. And our teachers and students, they do face hurdles. However, the new school design is designed to make these limitations into strengths. Parents, imagine a place where the classrooms are not confined by 4 walls, but rather extend into the realms of virtual landscapes and collaborative spaces, connecting students, connecting teachers with the wealth of knowledge that spans the globe. Imagine an ecosystem where technology is not just a tool, but an integral part of the learning experience, equipping our students with the digital literacy and adaptability crucial for the challenges ahead. Imagine an Islamic environment that echoes the words of the Quran, and its corridors will be illuminated by the Sunnah. Here, students will not only excel academically, but will also blossom into strong Muslim leaders and contributors to society. When we think of top academic institutions in the world, we often think of Oxford, we think of Harvard, we think of Yale, Princeton. The Edmonton Islamic Academy has positioned itself on the same echelon when compared to K-12 schools, not only in Edmonton or Alberta, but in North America. The Muslim community of Edmonton have always been, and inshallah will always be, trailblazers and pioneers and legacy makers of providing Muslims with the best Islamic centers that people worldwide will imitate. Wallahi, educators and community leaders from all corners often come and visit us. They fly into Edmonton to visit us, to learn from us, to imitate us. Imitation is the best form of flattery, and we are flattered with the opportunity of being the best Islamic school known coast to coast. This new elementary campus, your children's school, not mine, not yours, your children's school, will be the name that people will look up to EIA is set to be the Harvard of Islamic education across Canada. We can do this. We will become the generation behind our community's next first. Ladies and gentlemen, we have something very special. And we've talked about it and you know about it. And I want to kindly ask that you draw your attention to the screens to watch a video presentation that will encapsulate the importance of this next first. Thank you very much.
In the heart of Edmonton, Alberta, where our Muslim community's legacy spans more than 150 years, we embark on a thrilling new journey. Fueled by an unwavering faith, gifted by our forefathers, they established the foundation of the vibrant community we have before us today.
I've been honored with a great task that I need your support for. I'm the chair of the Edmonton Islamic Academy New School Project, and this is the need for our community to grow together, to include those who have been left out. We have thousands of students on the waiting list. We need your support. And this plan to build this wondrous, absolutely cutting-edge institution will fulfill that need. I encourage you, as Sadaqa Jariyah, to get involved, support your future generations.
This is an absolute necessity in this day and age. We have a great program here, first and foremost, where we have 100% of our students are graduating, 100% of those graduates are going to post-secondary education, and they're getting skilled and highly educated and bringing those skills back into our own communities. That's first and foremost. We have a program that we should be proud about. Secondly, we are facing a bit of a crisis, a population crisis that is, where we have over 2,000 students currently falling under the Edmonton Islamic Academy, yet we have 1,000 plus more who are on our waiting list. These are families and students who are desperate to get into our school. These are families and students who are desperate for Islamic education, and unfortunately, our building has exceeded its capacity, and we can no longer accommodate the needs of our growing community. This is a great need in our community. We owe it to our current and future generations to build an Islamic school in order to accommodate these needs and provide Islamic education as a key service within our community here in Edmonton.
When our parents came here and built Masajid, I don't know if they ever envisioned an Islamic school and an Islamic community like we have now. I remember when I was growing up in Edmonton, you know, we would hide the fact that we were fasting or hide the fact that we were Muslim in some ways. And now I look at our Islamic community in Edmonton and it's the opposite. Our students, our community is just really proud to be Muslim and share that idea. You know, when we think about the Islamic history of Edmonton, Helou Hamdan is a person that comes to mind. Helou Hamdan and a group of ladies petitioned the city of Edmonton to establish the first masjid in Edmonton. And that movement is why we're here today. Helou Hamdan and the pioneers of our Muslim women community has really paved the way for why we're here today. I remember in the early 80s that the Islamic school was established in the basement of the masjid. And not many people could attend, there was only so much space. Fast forward to 2006 when we built this school, and the community has now has made this place a creative hub for all of us and provide education excellence for our students.
This is a 21st century design that is going to be completely different than the current school we have here today. This new school is based around teacher and student collaboration, where students and teachers spend their day in a shared space, in a pod, in a learning community. This learning community is going to have classrooms that surround an atrium space. In that space, there's going to be opportunities for shared learning. There's going to be opportunities for projects, for group work. There's going to be opportunities for presentations and guest speakers. We are going to have opportunities to enhance our Islamic program here in the school. Not only will students be collaborating with each other, but within that space, we've built a collaboration room for teachers. Well, they will go into this room during their planning time. They will share resources. They will share strategies. They will learn from one another. Our teachers will grow organically because of the interactions that they're going to have within the shared space. And from that development, they're going to go back into their classrooms and they're going to push these new learnings onto our students. And naturally, it's going to enhance not only the teaching, but it's going to also enhance the learning. There's no dead space in this new school. Every corner and every inch is designed and intended for learning. And our atrium allows it as well. And our masalla, which is going to be really a very special feature, not only for the students and staff, but for the entire community. We have a complete class-sized wudu area where our imam and Islamic leaders are going to properly and effectively teach students the correct steps on wudu, the importance of it. We have a large gym. This new design is going to be iconic here in Edmonton. There are no other schools that are going to have the features that our new design is going to offer our Islamic students and their teachers. And we're really proud of what this design is going to do, and really optimistic that it's going to improve student learning at another level that we've never seen before.
You always think about legacy as people, as humans. We always think about legacy and what legacy we will leave behind for our children and our community. And I think of the pioneers that I mentioned earlier on and the legacy they left for us. And now we have the opportunity to create a legacy for future generations. This school will provide an opportunity for our kids to have a community hub, for them to gather, regardless again of where they come from in the city, north or south, west or east, whatever ethnic background they come from. At our school, we're blessed to have so many different cultural nations, and it really is a microcosm of what the potential of the Ummah is.
In my profession, I recognize the importance of meeting social and emotional needs for healthy childhood development. It is for this reason educational institutions like the Edmonton Islamic Academy that not only provide a safe environment for youth to develop their identities, become leaders and contributors to society and reach their goals, but also allows them to be raised in a society and a community that parallels Islamic teachings.
I think with the new building, obviously you're focusing a lot on how it benefits new elementary students that will be coming to our school. But I think as a secondary teacher and someone who will probably be left behind, I think it has a lot of benefit to secondary students, not just who are currently in the school, but who would want to come to the school and experience Islamic faith-based education. Having a new school doesn't just benefit elementary students, but also the secondary students, and also as they continue on in their careers after as well.
Alhamdulillah, in Edmonton Islamic Academy, we are really keen on collaborative work when it comes to our classes and when it comes to teachers. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, I'm part of a fantastic grade 5 team, and I'm so honored and I'm so blessed to work with them. But there are some restrictions. For example, the hallway that we're in right now, we can't really, the students don't really see each other. And from last year, we piloted a new program for the students to actually transition from class to class. And because of our hallway, it's really difficult for the students to transition since we're in a parallel area and we're not really facing each other. There's no space. But inshallah ta'ala, with the new school opening up, we're going to have, first of all, more classes, inshallah, and we're going to have an area for students to actually transition.
The structure of the new building provides a lot of opportunities. Us as educators, we take great pride in providing students to build their teamwork, their collaboration skills. These are really important 21st century skills in the workforce.
I love Edmonton Islamic Academy because of the hospitality and how nice people are. This is my first year and a lot of people are very nice to me, and so are the teachers, and I just think it's an amazing school.
I think as teachers, an institution like this would help further foster the high quality education that we try to promote. I also think that it allows for growth in a literal and physical sense.
What I love about the Islamic Academy is
the teachers and the Islamic environment.
As a teacher, I think it's very important to have that space that you can work together with other teachers to help share those strategies and collaboration. I think having an area and having a space that's so close-knit with other classrooms and having those teachers closer together to share resources, to share assessments, to share strategies is so crucial to the development of the students. At the end of the day, it always boils back down to the students. And so if the teachers are comfortable with how the environment is set up, and if they're able to have that opportunity to create a positive learning atmosphere, it all bleeds down back towards the students who ultimately benefit the rewards of that.
I love the Islamic Academy because the teachers are nice and you're surrounded by good, educated people.
We want our children to be those strong Muslims who can think critically, who can be the future leaders, who can be the scientists which we had in the past.
واجب الوقت in الأصول in the fiqh. In the Islamic law, it means the mandatory of the time. The mandatory of the time for the Muslim in Alberta or in Edmonton specifically, that they have to come together to build that school, which will have around 1,700 students. They will be learning the Book of Allah, the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the school, the Muslim children and young people, they will preserve their Islamic values. They will preserve as well their Islamic knowledge. They will together build a future for the Muslims in Edmonton. So I ask all the brothers and sisters in the community to write the history together, come together, participate in the Qard Hasan, participate in the donation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let that dream come true. Allahumma ameen.
Now, we are launching a campaign to raise funds for the Edmonton Islamic Academy elementary campus. We want you to be a part of the movement. You can support us in 3 ways. Give us a good loan, donate your wealth, or contribute your time. Join us, and together we can make a difference.
Thank you, Mr. Welsh, for the enlightening presentation. We extend our heartfelt appreciation to Islamic Relief Canada for their unwavering support and generous sponsorship for our event. Their contributions reflect a shared commitment to our mission. Before we announce dinner, I'd like to direct your attention again to the screens for a short clip.
During the 80s, we were not thinking for the future. During the 80s, we were looking at the reality of the people and the lack of the resources we had. From the 91-92, we started to draw the big map for Islamic relief. And the dream came true now, after 40 years. If you think the sky is your limit, you will live between the sky and the earth. If you think the sky is your beginning, you live between the sky and the earth.
Okay, so let's proceed with dinner and prayer. We'll have volunteers, they'll direct you to the prayer area, and table numbers will be announced for the buffet. So please wait until your number is called. Blanca's going to go ahead and call.
تفضل شيخ أحمد to call the adhan, please. And that prayer will be in the atrium. And you can go ahead and head over while we're having dinner. Just anytime you
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
say anything more than a huge thank you. God bless you all.
Jazakumullah khair, sign. MashaAllah, what an outstanding and generous community we have. And we didn't even have to lock the doors. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all our efforts and contributions. And you can continue handing in your pledge forms to our volunteers as the evening rolls out. And if you need extra pledge forms, they have a lot on the right over there. You can grab if you need it. Next, for the part we've all been waiting for, the main show. And I know you all are as excited as I am for this. Our special guest today came all the way from the United States to be part of our project. Our coveted speakers need no introduction. Sean King and Khalid Beydoun are well-known activists whose voices resonate across the world. I've been personally following them both on social media for years, and they've been some of the most influential faces in the world these past few months. In fact, Mr. King was hailed by Time magazine as one of the 25 most important people in the world on the internet. He is one of the most followed activists and journalists in the world. Having been a civil rights and human rights leader for nearly 30 years, Mr. King has dedicated his entire life to fighting against injustice and oppression, including the horrific genocide and apartheid of the Palestinian people. A New York Times best-selling author, Mr. King is the founder and executive director of both Grassroots Law Project and Real Justice. As a published journalist, Mr. King has written over 1,500 articles at the New York Daily News and The Intercept. His daily news podcast, The Breakdown with Sean King, has been heard around the world for the past 6 years. As an award-winning speaker and teacher, Mr. King has traveled and spoken worldwide. He is a proud father of 5, a trained historian with degrees in history, and before any of this, he was a high school history and civics teacher. He is one of the most successful grassroots fundraisers in the world. Recently banned from Instagram by the Meta Corporation for his outspoken support of Palestine, Mr. King is getting back to his passion for traveling and speaking directly to the people.
Professor Khalid Beydoun is a distinguished law professor, author, and public intellectual. Hailing from Detroit, he holds degrees from the University of Michigan, University of Toronto, UCLA, and Harvard. He holds a faculty position at the Arizona State University College of Law and a scholar in residence at Harvard University. Renowned for his expertise in constitutional law and civil rights, Professor Beydoun authored and co-edited many books while contributing to top academic journals. His impactful insights have reached global audiences through the New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, BBC, and ESPN. Professor Beydoun, a former U.S. Commission for Civil Rights member, has received prestigious honors, including being named one of the 500 most influential Muslims worldwide. Beyond academia, Professor Beydoun has a substantial social media presence. As a leading voice on Arab, Middle Eastern, and Muslim identity, he conducts diversity and inclusion training for major corporations such as Apple, Meta, Nike, and Google. We invite Dr. Chuck to take the role of moderator for our fireside chat with our distinguished guests. Everyone help me in welcoming Mr. Sean King and Professor Khalid Beydoun.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome to this fireside chat with the eminent Sean King and Khalid Beydoun. Let's give them another round of applause. admire, and I know that we're supposed to not praise the people that we admire to their face, but I'd like to say this in front of everyone. It takes a lot of courage to speak against empire and hegemony. It takes courage to stand up and be willing to sacrifice your career and at times even your family and friends for what you believe is right. And both of these gentlemen have done that and continue to do that very courageously. Thank you very much, Khalid and Sean. We're going to start with a little clip. It's a 2-minute clip. Kyle in the back, if you can play that video. And give me the lights, please.
I have to say this, and I'll sit down. Back during slavery, when black people like me talked to the slaves, they didn't kill them. They sent some old house Negro along behind him to undo what he said. You have to read the history of slavery to understand this. There were two kinds of Negroes. There was the old house Negro and the field Negro. And the house Negro always looked out for his master. When the field Negro got too much out of line, he held him back in check. He put him back on the plantation. The house Negro could afford to do that because he lived better than the field Negro. He ate better, he dressed better, and he lived in a better house. He lived right next to his master in the attic or the basement. He ate the same food his master ate and wore his same clothes. And he could talk just like his master, good listening. And he loved his master more than his master loved himself. That's why he didn't want his master hurt. If the master got sick, he'd say, "What's the matter, boss?" He said, he was going to say, when the master's house caught fire, he tried to put the fire out. He didn't want his master's house burned. He never wanted his master's property threatened. And he was more defensive of it than the master was. That was the house Negro. But then you had some field Negro who lived in huts, had nothing to lose. They wore the worst kind of clothes. They ate the worst food. And they caught hell. They felt the sting of the lash. They hated their master. Oh, yes, they did. If the master got sick, they prayed that the master died. If the master's house caught a fire, they prayed for a strong wind to come along. This was the difference between the two. And today you still have house Negroes and field Negroes.
Gentlemen, you're here with us today for the launch of the Edmonton Islamic Academy Elementary Campus. And we just saw a clip from the marhum, Malcolm X. And he talked about the house Negro and the field Negro. And one of the things, one of the intentions behind the schooling that we want to inculcate in young people, the ideas, the value system, is we want them to honor their traditions. We want them to stand for justice, as you two do. We want them to speak truth to power, as you often do. Talk to me about this. Talk to me about how communities of color can resist hegemony, how we can build institutions to not only benefit our community, but help other marginalized, oppressed groups throughout the world. We'll give each of them an opportunity to respond, take into consideration, and then we'll open to a more free, informal discussion. But Sean, please.
Sure. Well, first, thank you all for having me here. I'm glad to be in Edmonton, and I'm amazed that people like a place this cold so much. When I was flying in, it was like the frozen tundra for as far as I could see. And then suddenly there was the city with all of these beautiful people. And so thank you for welcoming me here. Listen, I have a very specific answer to that, but I just want to say I am so impressed with the community and the school that you've built. As I told Khalid, I have spoken now in 48 states across the United States. I have never seen something like I just saw, that you all raised $14 million in about 30 minutes. First off, I was sitting at the table with him for 2 hours and had no idea. And then when you got on stage, I thought, he's about to really struggle. And I laughed and we said, does anybody have the 80 million? And then when somebody brought $1 million and another million and another million, I was like, what's going on here? And this community is different. You all have already elevated your consciousness in a way that you are fully aware of what you can build. And that's a beautiful place to be. To hear him say, my undergraduate and graduate degrees are in history, and to hear him say, we've actually already done this. And we did it with fewer people, but we still stretched ourselves so much, and all of this, if I heard right, was built with no loans, just purely investments from the people. And I am wrestling with something that I think I could guess reasonably that all of you are wrestling with. And I just want to wade into it for a moment. It's hard to not feel guilty throughout the day, even eating a meal, when you're fully aware that there are sisters and brothers right now in Gaza who are, if you saw this week, crushing up horse feed and eating horse food, because that's all that's left. I think that we can live in both worlds at the same time. And these are just my thoughts, and feel free to reject anything I'm saying. I think we owe it to Palestinians to live our best life where we are. So for all of you that are here and from Edmonton, it is your duty, it is our duty to push ourselves to the maximum capacity to build and grow and deepen systems and institutions. You are institution builders. When I learned that there are 1,000 children on the wait list, that it's the #1 school in an international city, you owe it to our sisters and brothers that are struggling anywhere in the world to do well here, while also having a heart and mind for those that are struggling and facing genocide around the world. I think we can do both. And I want you to do both. And I don't think there's a contradiction there. Because what I'm seeing is, it is important for our sisters and brothers all around the world for us to have power wherever we are. And so what you're building here is power. And I could describe it in 20 different ways. I'm gonna close with this thought, and we have a lot more that we want to talk about. If you ever have followed me, many of you told me you used to follow me on Instagram. I'm fighting very hard to get back. I don't know how many of you, even at my table, I had some people from Yemen at my table. Thank God for Yemen right now and all that they're doing. I was banned from Instagram for simply saying how proud I was of the Yemeni men that decided to do anything they knew to do to try to stop the genocide by stopping these ships in the Red Sea. And to this day, they've killed no one. I don't even have any reports of them injuring anybody. And so to see them labeled as terrorists, it cheapens and demeans the actual word terrorism. There are terrorists in this moment. It's definitely not the men of Yemen. If you've ever followed me on Instagram or any social media, you've never heard me say what I'm about to say. And so I hope that helps you understand that it comes from a very genuine place. I was sitting at my table and I had I had an image in my mind. And have you ever had a vision or an image that was so clear that you felt like that must be from God? Have you had that before? And so I saw myself as an older man. My hair is already starting to turn gray, but I was completely gray and wrinkled, and I had traveled back to Edmonton, here. And there was a woman that we all came to hear speak. And I don't know, she seemed like one of the most important people in the world. I don't know if she was president, I don't know what she was, I don't know what she was doing, but she graduated from this school. And I could see her so clearly. We may not know for 30 more years if I saw into the future, but I believe it's possible that who this school is producing, that's the power. Who this school sends back out into Edmonton and all around the world is power. And I just saw this sister in a hijab, and the campus looked different, and she was from here, and it was just a profound, pivotal moment for this community. And I'm believing in my heart that I just had a glimpse into the future of this community. So I know that's an awkward thing to share, and I wrestled with it for like 45 minutes, but I just believe it's true. Yeah, God bless you.
Thank you. Beautiful. Yeah, Assalamu alaikum everybody. It's great to be here in Edmonton. This is my third time here, and every time I come here I'm really inspired by how this community galvanizes and mobilizes. And Brother San, that was really impressive. I might have to get a job as a teacher at the school, inshallah, when you guys open. I want to say a couple of things. I'm going to be brief, but the first thing I want to say is, when you talk about education and the importance of education, I'm a law professor. My job is to teach future lawyers, future judges, future politicians, elected officials, but it's important for us to think about education more broadly. And Sean is here tonight, and I really want to recognize and thank Sean for using his platform, not only during these past 3 months. Sean has been vocal on Palestine for many years.
This is not, I've said this publicly, I have critiques of things I see in Yemen, but I can't name a country I don't have critiques of, including this one. And so, the men of Yemen have a philosophy, and this moment, this genocide, has basically flipped the switch on their philosophy. And so for them it's saying, yeah, we must respond because our theology, our philosophy, our worldview says when we see genocide, we respond. And they've said over and over and over again, no matter what you do to us, we'll never stop, because it's a part of their philosophy of life. I'm not saying that particular philosophy has to be the philosophy of this school. I'm thinking long and hard about how much I love that philosophy of saying you should put your life on the line when you see genocide, right? That's not a bad thing to adopt. But this school has the opportunity to build hearts and minds that are unshakable. And what I see in the world more than ever is we need people with that kind of intellectual resilience, because the pressure to compromise, to be less than, Colin and I had been told before I was banned that there was a significant chance they were going to find something and ban me, and I thought they were going to ban him. I don't know what you did to keep your account. But we knew if I'm never restored again, if I never get that account back again, I don't regret it for a minute. Everything I said I meant. And if it requires me, there's nothing more humiliating than someone saying what they mean, then apologizing for it when they have consequences. The way I was taught, my philosophy is you say what you mean and you suffer the consequences if you have to, but you don't regret it. Everything I said I thought about. Everything I said I edited and proofread. I meant it. And you just have, that's my philosophy. And you just pay the price. And here in this community, the school is already a world-class community. You are building hearts and minds that can not only impact this city, but the region and the world. It's a profound, what a blessing to be able to shape the heart and minds and intellect of young people in this city. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, so the spirit of the question focuses on, how to build solidarity and bridges across community. And I want to respond to that in two ways. The first thing is, we don't have to look far to find an anecdote and a roadmap for how to do that. Our faith tells us how to do that. Look at the stage, a Kashmiri brother, an Arab brother, a black brother, all talking about the same thing. Islam is a religion of racial justice, right? It's a religion of social justice. We don't draw divides along ethnic or racial lines or tribal lines or nationality, right? Just as long as you believe in Allah, then khalas, you're part of the same community. And this school is going to be built upon that foundation, inshallah. The second thing I want to say is, look, when I look around and alhamdulillah, you guys are a very economically empowered community. And wealth comes with considerable responsibility. I read about the school really briefly, but I'm going to push you guys a little bit. I've been to Edmonton 3 times. I don't know much about the demographics of the city. I'll be frank with you, I don't know much about the racial and the economic segregation in the city. But if it's anything like an American city, I'm guessing that race and economics map really closely together with regard to who the haves are and who the have-nots are. So when I come back to this city, inshallah, I'm happy to come back anytime. Brother Farhan, when he tells me to come, I got no choice but to come. Look at him, inshallah, he's really built. He'll beat me up if I say no to him. But I don't want this school to be a school that is only accessible to the wealthy. I don't want this school to only be accessible to the haves and those who live on the nice side of town. I want this school to be a school that shapes the worldview Brother Sean is talking about. I want this school to be an engine for dawah. And what I mean by that is, not only Muslim students should go to this school. If there are poor and working class indigenous students, raise money and give them scholarships. If there are recent children who are immigrants from war-torn African countries or war-torn Asian countries who don't have the means, make sure they have a place at the school. If there are children who come from single-parent households like me, I was raised by a single mother. We didn't have the means to go to a private school. Make sure there's a place, make sure there's scholarships, make sure there's financial aid, and I'll be the first to donate. This school not only has to heed, that sacred mandate of racial justice in our Quran, it has to exemplify it. And the way we exemplify it is not only to create educational inroads for poor indigenous, African, Arab, Kashmiri, working class families to have places at the school. Because when you let that kid into the school, you're not only benefiting one kid, you're making transformative change for that kid's entire family and future.
beautiful insight. And I would like to add on behalf of DIA that almost $500,000 goes for the tuition of less advantaged families. And that, inshallah, will continue in the new school, if not even more. But it's fundamental, absolutely beautiful insights. The last thing I wanted to talk about was something that many of us know very well. It was the final sermon of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. It is a testament to three things very powerfully written more than 1,400 years ago. Racial equality, when our Prophet, peace be upon him, said that a white has no superiority over a black, and a black has no superiority over a white, an Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab, and vice versa. So that was one of the major messages of our Prophet, peace be upon him, in his final sermon. Secondly, talked about gender equality. He talked about the rights and responsibilities men have over women, but women have over men. This is something truly revolutionary at that time. Then he talked about interest, which he equated with exploitation. So your thoughts, gentlemen, because like you said, we want to take those values, we want to take that worldview. I want the school to produce young men and women that are going to be brave like you, Khalid, going to be brave like you, Sean, that are going to go out in the world and they're going to say, no, we're not going to accept your terms. That's what we want. We want to instill those values. Talk to us about that.
Well, thank you for sending me that, and that was my first time reading it. And I was so inspired by it, and many of you may know this, I was a Christian pastor for many years. I was a pastor for almost 15 years, went to seminary, and I preached many sermons on the last words of Jesus. And I think the most important thing I learned studying the final, not just the very last words of Jesus, but the last 200 or 300 words that he had. When someone knows they're near death, they choose their words carefully. They say something that they desperately want the audience to remember. So when I read that, I could not help but think, like, every lesson in here, you know, this was before highlighters and bold print, but like, I got the feeling like he wanted all of this highlighted in yellow, bold print, like this was meant for these to be like life principles. And any of us, I was a hospital chaplain and a hospital counselor, and often people would ask, like, what are the final things they should say to family, to friends? And all of a sudden, the things that meant so much to them didn't matter. They wanted somebody to know that they were loved. It's just, your final words are so important. And that the final words in this sermon are talking about racial equality, gender equality, talking about financial systems and how they should not be abusive to people. It's not just profound, it's so relevant for 2024, and that, like you said, that an ancient text that's 1,400 plus years old, that we could look at it and feel like someone just preached this sermon. In fact, it would be a good sermon if you heard that as a sermon today, like, oh wow, they're talking about exactly what we need to be talking about. And so, my final thought on this: having those principles that are shared in this last sermon, like saying that you have them and living them, totally different. And I was speaking specifically to the men in the room. All of them. Every man in the room is sexist to some degree. And when you begin to accept that society has taught you wrong things about gender and bias. This was almost 15 years ago, I was leading a board meeting. And I have 4 daughters. I'm married to a brilliant doctor. So women and girls are a huge part of my life every day. And I thought I had it all together on issues of gender equality. I was in a board meeting and I was the chairperson of the board. And there was a woman on the board that was a good friend of mine and one of the most important people on the board. She was super competent and capable. We'd been in this meeting for 2 or 3 hours and we had a break. And after the break, she came to me, and this was so courageous, and this woman was a true friend. She said, Sean, when the men talk in the room, you let them talk until they're completely finished. She said, even if they're not saying anything important at all, if it's garbage, you just let them go, go, go. And she said, I noticed 6 or 7 times women were saying something smart and you interjected or interrupted. My first thought was, this was my bias talking. My first thought was, I didn't do that. I was like, I got defensive. I was like, I'm pretty sure I didn't do what you thought I did. We went back to the meeting. Some men were talking, and I listened, and a woman was talking, and sure enough, I interrupted her. And I thought, I was 30 years old. I thought, I've probably been doing this for the past 10 years. And it took a friend to tell me. And so from that point on, it changed how I led meetings. It made me a better active listener. I said it to say that you probably are not nearly as righteous as you think you are. Particularly on racial bias, gender bias. There's not a person in the room that doesn't have significant room for growth. And what's beautiful about it is it's clear that it pleases God when we actually live those principles out. Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about how I can respond to that. So, look, I'm going to make an admission that I probably shouldn't make. I was a horrible high school student. I actually flunked my freshman year of high school. And I had to go to summer school and night school to graduate on time. But I remember, like, in the summer before my senior year in high school, I stumbled, coincidentally, past a book from a man who would eventually become my hero, right? You guys know who Edward Said is? Allah yarhamu, Palestinian intellectual. Ahmed, I know you. Me and Ahmed always talk about Edward Said. But I picked up a book from Edward Said and I read these words. And again, I wasn't the smartest kid growing up. But I remember reading these words in his book, and the words said, I am an Oriental writing back at the Orientalists who for so long have thrived upon our silence. And I read it again, and I read it a third time, and I finally absorbed what those words meant. And I juxtaposed with those words with what I saw on television screens whenever predominantly white male pundits talked about Islam, Arabs, and the quote-unquote Muslim world. Always in very skewed, biased, nefarious ways. They never looked like us. They never knew anything about us. They were fully invested in demonizing us. And as I got older and older and older and decided to become an academic that wanted to dedicate my life to, theorizing and studying what Islamophobia was, I fully understood what those words meant in conjunction with the last sermon of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, in this orientation that the West is always entrenched in advancing, right? This idea that the West is the bastion of civilization, that the West is the beacon of human rights and dignity and civil rights and everything that is modern and liberal and dynamic and forward moving. That's what they say, that's what they sell. And what do they say antithetically about us? that we're backwards, we're uncivilized, we're warmongering, we're sexist, we oppress our women. Our women don't have any agency, right? This is the narrative they peddle. These are the lies they've been peddling not only for decades, but for centuries. So when I'm watching television, and I'm watching the news, and I see the US and the UK and Canada pushing forward, advancing, enabling genocide, that isn't civilization. That isn't democracy, that isn't dignity. South Africa is dignity. Those young Palestinians in Gaza, Bassam and Mu'taz and Walid Dahdour and Salah, and these young children that we've been communicating with, whose names and faces we don't know. The ones who are demonized as terrorists, right? That's what they say on CNN, the CBC, and the BBC. These are the ones who are civilized. These are the ones who are advancing dignity, standing for democracy, for self-determination. When Ukrainians do it, they're freedom fighters. When Palestinians and Kashmiris do it, they're terrorists. So, circling back to the last sermon of the prophet, peace and blessings upon him, that is not only an ancient, historic sermon, that is a standing narrative of civilization and the model of law that we need to follow and look toward, not the lies and myths being peddled by the West.
Final thoughts, gentlemen. If you could have a moment with our young boys and girls and give them a single piece of advice, what would you say to them? What would you want to say to your own daughters or sons?
Well, I have 5 kids, and so I have kids in elementary school, middle school, high school, and college. And so those are conversations that I've actually had. And when I wake up in the morning, I don't see myself as a civil rights leader. I don't see myself as a social media personality. I definitely don't see myself as an Instagram personality. When I wake up in the morning, I have to get up very early every morning. My son takes a 90-minute bus to school back and forth every day. And so we wake up at 5 in the morning. When I wake up in the morning, I see myself as a dad. Everything I do on Instagram, all my work, I'm always thinking of myself as a father. What would a father do? 95% of the work that I have done over the past 3 months for Palestinians was not on Instagram. It was trying to be an uncle or a father to young people that are struggling in Gaza. And I'm there sending voice notes and prayers and inspiration. What I would say to any young person, and what I have said to my children, because people often ask my kids if they're going to be civil rights leaders. And they're surprised because I have told my kids since they were babies that I wanted them to explore all of their options and do what they really felt God had placed in their heart to do. All of my kids care about civil rights. I don't think any of my children will be civil rights leaders. My children are artists, singers, we have mathematicians, athletes, and I have implored all of them, just keep all of your options open. It's a different spin on what parents often tell our children, you can do anything you want. That's a little too naive and basic for the way I'm trying to raise my children or the way I would speak to your children. I would just say, as basic and foundational as this sounds, when you think about your career and your future, don't close any doors. Because you could be completely surprised at the path that life takes you on. And before I was who I am now, I did so many things. But because I was willing to keep my heart open to other chances and other possibilities, you know, even deep into my 30s and now 40s, my life is still twisting and turning because I kept those doors open. Yeah, I say that to kids all the time because what I mainly hear, even from my own children that are, my 2 children who are now in high school, is that I don't know what I want to be. And I said, that's normal. You're right on time. Don't close any doors. And when you find something that really piques your interest, tell me, and I'll be there to help you through that. And we need to be there for our young people when they choose things that we would never choose for them. Choose paths that we would never be on ourselves. So just keep those doors open. I say it all the time.
Beautiful.
Final thoughts.
Yeah, I would say 2 things. 2 things really come to the fore of my mind when you ask that question. The first thing is to be selfless, and then second, to be principled. I think that young people in this day and age live in times that are far more dangerous than when we were children, right? There's the seduction that comes from social media, capitalism pulls in ways that is stronger than ever before. The degree of sort of vanity and self-centricity that is fueled by those 2 things, I think, is unprecedented. And it lures children to be selfish and self-absorbed in ways that are really frightening. So to always have a mental check to think about others and the decisions that you make is really important. And the second thing is to tie that and to bind that to being principled. There's a beautiful quote. I've been reading a lot of Palestinian poets and authors over the last several weeks, and there's a quote, some of you might have heard this quote, from Ghassan Kanafani, iconic Palestinian poet, who said, "You can steal my land, my home, everything that I own, but you cannot steal the love that a person has for a specific conviction or cause." And that, in many respects, is the grand narrative, not only of Palestinian people, but any dispossessed and displaced people, that when you're selfless, material items don't matter much because you're tethered and invested in something that is ethereal, and that's principle. And the reason young people have to know that right now is, look, there are material costs and trade-offs with being principled in this day and age. Sean said it earlier. If you speak up on Gaza, look, when this, and Sean, I'm sure the same thing happened to you. When this crisis began, I had celebrities and influencers reach out to me and say, with followings way bigger than me, mind you, 7 million followers, 8 million followers, Khalid, share this, Khalid, share this tweet, do this. I'm like, why don't you share it? Your following's far more massive. These people were not principled. They didn't want to lose their brand deals. They didn't want to lose followers. They didn't want to put those material things on the line. Right? These aren't the people we should emulate. Young people have to be selfless. They have to be principled at moments like this to realize that genocides are bigger than any one brand deal, bigger than any one job, bigger than any one opportunity. So if you merge those 2 things together, you really cultivate and curate a young generation of leaders that can make the transformative change that we need. And we've seen some progress, right? During this crisis in a myriad of ways. But we haven't seen the kind of progress that can put a stop to this genocide. And look, we're at day what? What is it, day 110, 111? This genocide should have stopped at day 7, 8, 9, or 10. And the future generation, inshallah, will prevent and abort the possibility of something like this happening if they stand on those 2 principles, selflessness and being principled and being courageous.
Gentlemen, it's been an honor. You've traveled far to be here. You've sacrificed a lot. I want to say that my conversations with both of them, money was not an issue. Wallahi, to everybody, I can show you the text messages. Sean's exact words were, "I'm honored just to be there." When I told him what the cost, wallahi, Allah's my witness. And Khalid said, "Don't worry about my fee. It's okay, we believe in this." Because they really did believe. And I think you being here is an inspiration for so many. much respect and love from all of us. And we really appreciate you coming out. Let's give them a strong round of applause. Everything that they're doing. Standing ovation, ladies and gentlemen, for these men.
We appreciate the valuable insights shared by our esteemed guests. Wow, that really resonated with me as I felt that disconnect when I lived abroad. And one of the things I value most about Edmonton is a sense of community and the value of being contribution. Just a reminder, there are volunteers still walking around to collect your pet forms. If you haven't already, please connect with one of them.
All right, we still have an exciting part to the evening, so please settle down, everyone. We're delighted to present Ahmed Zahid to showcase his exceptional talents. Ahmed Zahid is a Palestinian-American comedian, activist, writer, public intellectual, professor, and speaker. He holds a master's in Middle Eastern and Northern African Studies and a law degree, both from the University of Michigan. He writes and speaks widely on political and social affairs and has appeared on radio and television, including Fox News, CNN, and more. Some of his writings have been featured in major publications, including Time Magazine and Al Jazeera. He is a law professor at the University of Detroit, has published a documentary film and a book, but I think we know him most for his stand-up comedy performances. Mr. Zahid often incorporates humor and storytelling to explore various aspects of his life and experiences, including his Palestinian heritage. I can go on forever, but I know you're excited to get Mr. Zahid on stage. So introducing the second funniest Palestinian in the room, Ahmed Zahid.
You? Okay, good evening. Salam alaikum. Have a seat, have a seat, have a seat, have a seat. Okay. Hello, sir. Sorry to interrupt you. Go, have a seat. All right, my face is not going to be on the screen, so turn your chairs around and face me. I need everybody to turn your chairs around and face me. If you're behind one of these poles, move your chair one way or the other. First, have a seat, have a seat, have a seat. I know it's getting late, so thank you for staying here with us. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me in the back over there? Can you hear me all the way in the back over there? I am so honored to be with all of you here tonight. The first thing we have to do tonight, as we all stand up here today, together in solidarity with this school here and in solidarity with people in Palestine as a Palestinian on the stage tonight, I just want to say thank you to all of you and to everybody who has been standing up for Palestine since October 7th and before. And tonight's theme is thank you, something I try to do at my shows. Blanca, you can bring them all here. The one, come start walking. We have to say thank you to the workers and staff who made our evening enjoyable and easy. You were wondering why it was so easy for you tonight. It was because of this wonderful workers and staff that were here tonight. All these people, all these young people especially, led by our sister Blanca, who's too nice over there. We have to say thank you to all of them to start off. Okay, that's enough. Fine. See you later. It was a historic decision which recognized the rights of the Palestinian as a national people to be protected by the Convention on Genocide, which understood that the case against Israel in the International Court of Justice is a real case, a case that can go forward. So we say thank you to our brothers and sisters in South Africa. And thank you to all of you for having me here. I've been in Edmonton many times. Whoever is this screen, can you hit pause so it's not like the thing moving? Just hit pause so it's freaking me out. Marty, a little bit. Just make it so it's not moving. Just hit pause. There you go. Thank you. All right. Thank you. I am so happy to be with you here today. I'm so inspired by everything that I saw going on here today. Where's Ali Rabah? Is he still here? Is he the one? Yeah. Bro, are you single? $1 million. I mean, I'm flexible. Sorry, Chief. That was just a joke. Just a joke, not that flexible. Just a joke. The kids aren't here, right? You didn't bring the kids from the school? Just the adults? Let me understand who is here with us tonight. First, if you're Arab, clap your hands. Arabs that are here, clap your hands. All right, wonderful, wonderful. And then do we have some of our South Asian brothers and sisters in there, Pakistan? Yes, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And then do we have any people from Latin America here tonight? Latin America? Yeah? Are you for real? No? Okay. This guy looks like a little dash over there. You're saying you're from Central America. Okay, how about our African and African Canadian brothers and sisters? Yes? Wonderful. So happy to have you here. Okay, wonderful. And then how about back to my Arabs? Who do we have? So we have any Syrians? Raising their hand? I'm not the Syrian government. You can clap. All right, good. Egyptian? You said unfortunately? All right, wonderful. How about Libya? Ish? I'm getting to you. We already did you. Sorry. This one says sorry, and that's it. Okay, Libyan, Algerian, Tunisian, Moroccan. Yes? Wonderful. Do we have people here from Jordan? Yeah? Are you really Jordanian? Or are you us Jordanian? No, you're really actually Jordanian. Okay, because there's only like 10 of them. Okay, and then wonderful. Do we have any from Iraq? Yes? Wonderful. Yemen? Good, good, wonderful. Anybody here from Saudi Arabia? All right, let's talk about them. No, I'm sorry. We own the building. Nice. Good, wonderful. And then I understand that this part of town has some Lebanese people, yes? Wonderful. Awesome. And then by chance, are there any Palestinians? Any of my people here? Yes. Always the loudest. And then I saw, I don't know, by accident, or I saw a few white people. Just regular, boring, white people. I don't mean the red-headed Lebanese ones, I mean like the other ones. I don't mean the Irish ones, I mean the... Are there any just regular white people? Yeah? What? Okay, calm down, calm down. What's your name? Jolie. It's like a song. And what are you doing here? Are you married to one of us? You're married down in the block? Damn it. How long you guys been married? What are you looking at? What you looking at him for? 19 years-ish? 19 years, wow. 19, that's amazing. Look, sometimes we marry white people. There's nothing wrong with that. We Arabs, we are a worldwide population. We're refugees. Sometimes we end up and we just marry whoever is closest to us. And let me tell you, I don't know Ali and Jolie. I just met them tonight, but let me tell you something. Sometimes we marry white. When we marry white people, we do not become more white. They become more Arab. That's the way it works. Because our culture is contagious. I'm not ashamed to say it. The Arab culture is the most beautiful culture on planet Earth. Ain't nothing like it on Earth. That's why we are protecting it to our depths in Gaza no matter what. We're not just protecting our land, we're protecting our culture. They're trying to erase us from everywhere that we are. And so we're going to stay there. I don't know much about Ali and Jolie, but listen. Jolie was living a regular, boring, white life. Not much was going on. It was really boring. Okay, she didn't have any spices in her spice cabinet. It was just salt, pepper, and everything bagel spice. That's it. That's all she had. All right? Then she ran into this brown immigrant, and she fell in love. And you can't blame her. And her life changed a lot. His life didn't change that much. Her life changed a lot, right? All of a sudden, you're dancing in circles. You got 75 cousins you never met before. You're flipping over food, right? Your life changed a lot, right? Look, what are you doing on a Friday night? You're at the Edmonton Islamic Academy dinner. That's what happens. That's right. Your husband's giving away $1 million. Welcome to our culture. I love our culture. We Arabs, we love our culture. We love it a little too much. We do. We're a little arrogant about our culture. When we have white people in our lands, in Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, we have a word in Arabic. We call them ajan. Ajan, right? That's what we say. Ajan. Ajan means, what's it mean? Foreigner. It means foreigner. Ajan. Then we moved to America and Canada, and do you know what we call white people? Ajanib! We still call them Ajanib. We came here and we call them Ajanib. Do you understand how arrogant that is? You know what I mean? There's like a 75-year-old woman from Kiblet Raha. She's walking around West Edmonton Mall. She's like, Ajanib. I'm like, you are in Canada. Of course there's Ajanib. We have a beautiful culture. We do. And I'm so proud to be one of us. It's the one most. And listen, I am up here today. I am Palestinian, and we have all been dealing with this not just since October 7th, but since 1948 and before. And I know that being Palestinian and being Arab is tough in these days. I know that sometimes it's frustrating. Sometimes it's depressing, it's sad. It makes us angry. But I also happen to believe that being Palestinian is the most beautiful thing on earth. To be one of us. To have this thing that we carry with us all the time. And that thing that we carry with us and that everyone who stands with us carries with us. And by the way, when I talk about Palestine, it's not just for Palestinians. As Khalid so eloquently told us, it's for all Arabs. It's for everybody in the world. Because, you know, these lines they drew between us, they're made by white people who didn't know what they were doing. Right? Not Jolie, but, you know, other... I'm sure she had nothing to do with it. But other ones in Britain and France, right, they made these lines. We're all the same people. But these lines have had a real impact on our lives. And so, I know being one of us is tough, but I think it's the most beautiful thing in the world. And so we're going to have a lot of fun tonight, but we still remember everyone who came before us, not just the 30,000 in the last 100 days, but everyone before that, and everyone who will come after us. That's why, since May 11th, 2022, I have been wearing this press t-shirt at every show that I do to honor our sister Sharina Bouakli, who was killed, martyred in Geneva. And now, we have seen the beauty of the Palestinian Arab tradition, which is all our young brothers and sisters and our older brothers and sisters carrying on that tradition in Gaza, sending the word, sending the truth all the time. See, our culture is beautiful. I always tell white people, I tell white people I'm Palestinian like Jesus. Because he's one of us, right? 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 Yeah. We should use him more. He's very famous. He's the most famous man in the history of the world. And he's Palestinian, okay? And his mom is the most famous woman in the history of the world. And she's Palestinian too. We should use them a lot more. We got to explain this to white people all the time, all right? Jesus did not have blonde hair and blue eyes, okay? He didn't look like Brad Pitt. All right? He looked like that's what he looked like. Jesus was one of us. He looked like us. By the way, it ain't a mystery. You just got to read the history of it. Jesus fought against occupation and tyranny. Is that right, Sean? Jesus fought against occupation. He fought against corruption. And for those things, he was killed. Doesn't get more Palestinian than that. Sounds like a Palestinian to me. And we have to protect our culture. We have to protect our culture, protect who we are, especially in America. I want to apologize. I come to you all from Dearborn. I don't know if you've heard of Dearborn, Michigan. It is the capital of Arabs in America. It's beautiful. I love living in Dearborn. It's so awesome. You can just be an Arab freely. You don't have to whisper when you say Jew. It's a great place. Are there any of our Jewish brothers and sisters tonight? No? Just say space. No? All right. By the way, since I forgot to welcome one very important group of people, and I forgot to do, since we are here tonight in a room full of 800 people or so from the Arab and Muslim community, I forgot also to welcome our uninvited guests from the CIA, FBI, and the Canadian intelligence services that are here with us tonight. Thank you for joining us. No, don't worry. The undercover agents, they don't look like it. They look like us. In America, they still call us white Arab. I think I know, and Khalid and I study the census and we study race, and I learned everything I know from him, but we study these things, and we know that in Canada, you guys have a census every 10 years, right? I don't know what you call it. You call it a census, but they do a census. And there's actually a box on the Canadian census that says Arab. You can check it, Arab on this Canadian. But we don't have that in America. In America, they still call us white. Yeah. And the reason is because of Jesus. Let me explain. Okay? I'm a law professor too, so we're going to do a quick little law professor class. All right. I don't know if you know this, but America has a little bit of a racist history. Okay, so white people came to America about 400 years ago. By the way, white people came to America because they believed that they were being discriminated against by other white people in Europe, and they came to America because they believed that God promised them America. Sound familiar? So they came to America and they started enslaving black people, stealing land from Native Americans, and then they decided they wanted to make a country. They wrote a Declaration of Independence. They said all men are created equal. It turns out they didn't really mean everybody. And then they wrote a Constitution. And in this Constitution, they wrote a bunch of rules when they told Congress that Congress has the power to decide the rules of naturalization. That's how you become a citizen. I don't know if they use the same word here in Canada. Do they? Naturalization? Okay, so it's how you become a citizen if you weren't born in America. And the first law of naturalization in 1790 said that in order to become an American, you have to be white. That was the rules, that was the law. Okay? And in America, you had to be white to become a citizen from 1790 all the way until 1952. Wow, it's long, right? So it was all these different people, all different people showed up, they tried to prove that they were white to get in, and then about 120 years ago, Arabs started showing. All right? And at that time, they all came from, they called it all Syria at that time. Lebanon, Palestine, Jordan, Syria, right? And about 90% of the early Arab immigrants to America were Christian. Because of course we have Arab Christians, because again, Jesus wanted us. So there was a Lebanese guy in California, his name was George. George Shisha. He showed up, he came to America when he was a teenager, and then he became a citizen, then he became a cop. One day he arrested the son of a very important white lawyer, and that white lawyer then made a complaint to the police. He said, this guy's from Lebanon, he should have never become a citizen. Should have never become a cop because he's not white. George went to the immigration office. They asked him, where are you from? He said, I'm from California. They said, no, where are you from? So white people say when they want to find out where you're really from. He said, Lebanon. And they said, oh, no, sorry, that's where all the Muslims are from. They call them Mohammedans. That's where all the Mohammedans are from. And so they took George's citizenship away from him. But George was an Arab. If you ever met an Arab, they're never happy with the first answer. They always need to talk to the manager. So George got in front of the judge, and the judge said to him, okay, George, tell us why we should let you stay in America, why you should get citizenship, why you should be considered white. And now you have to imagine, it's 1910, this Lebanese guy stands up in front of this white judge in California, and he says to him, Judge, Mr. Judge, Mr. Arnold. George said, and this is a true story, George said, I am from where Jesus is from. And if you say that I am not white, then you are saying Jesus is not white. As Professor Baydoun can tell you, this is a very strong legal argument. And this white judge looked at this Lebanese guy named George and he said, Amen. And he stamped his naturalization papers. And that's the first record we have of an Arab being declared white in America for purposes of naturalization, all because this white judge wanted Jesus to be white. You see how much they're trying to take Jesus away from us? You see how bad they want Jesus? Jesus is one of us. They want Jesus to be white so bad, they made every Arab white, from Morocco to Iraq. They want Jesus to be white so bad. They want Jesus to be white so bad, they made Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden white, just so they can have Jesus. But we're not white. We have a beautiful culture. I love white people. They seem fine. They seem wonderful. But we have our own culture. We are not white. We deserve our own box. We have beautiful. I know we're not white. Listen, I know we're not. White people are different than we are. We're just different. We buy houses different. White people are very logical when they buy a house. Are the taxes low? Are the schools good? Is the neighborhood safe? Not us. We're different. Yeah, I like the house. Very beautiful. How far is Costco? We're different. We got different standards. All right, we're not white. We're not white. I tried to be white when I was a little kid, okay? I saw how white kids work. I tried to be like that. I tried to talk back to my parents. It don't work. One day I was in my room and my dad just walked in my room. And I said what any good white kid would say. Get out of my room! I said, what? I said, I want my privacy. Get out! He said, well, let me explain. You don't have a room. Okay, I let you stay here so that you don't die. We're different. We're not white. Everyone's different. Our parents or our moms are different. I see all you Arab moms here. You're cool. They're different. They're different. They exaggerate. Okay? Haven't you ever met this Arab mom before? Khantu, what do you do? I just take care of my kids. Oh, your son, what does he do? Oh, my son. My son is a doctor. Oh, cool. What's his specialty? Well, he does not really have a specialty yet. Oh, cool. Where does he go to medical school? Well, he does not really go to medical school. He is 11, but he's going to be a doctor. We're different. We're not white. I know we're not white because I watch the news. Now, for those of you who don't know, we Arabs, we watch the news all the time, right? It's like a social activity for us. We call our friends over, we make popcorn, we bring out the coffee, and we watch the news because we're on it. All right, that's our TV show. I don't know what other people have. I don't know what white people have. Honey Boo Boo, Kim Kardashian. We have the news. Okay, it's like our reality show. By the way, we have a special power. Arabs, Muslims, we can be on the news even when the news has nothing to do with us. No one else can do that. We can do it. Like when there's a mass shooting in America and it's a white guy, it's always a white guy. It's always a white guy. We don't do that. It's always a white guy. But before they tell you it's a white guy, they come out and right away they come out and they say, we can now confirm that this is not terrorism. You know what that means, right? You know what that means? That means not us. That means not us. Because when it is us, they don't say not terrorism. When it is us, they have a press conference. All of a sudden, every journalist becomes like an expert in the Arabic language and an expert in Islam. And they get on, they start asking, these white reporters start asking the white sheriff, did he yell anything in Arabic? Did he say Lakbar? Did he say Lakbar? The funny thing about the news is it's not news anymore. The news is not news anymore. The news is news for like 5 minutes, and then it's like experts in analysis for other things. And here's the weird thing, it's happening now in the news too. When there's a story about Arabs or Muslims on the news, we don't get experts. When there's a story about black people, the experts are black. When there's a story about Latinos, the experts are Latino. When there's a story about us, for some reason, the experts are white. And they don't know what they're talking about. And they're not even experts in us. You know, they're called like national security experts or terrorism experts, as if that makes you an expert on Islam or Arab culture. We have experts, okay? You can call us. We have experts, PhDs, law professors, former terrorists. We have a lot of experts, okay? I was watching the news like maybe 7 or 8 years ago. Remember 7 or 8 years ago in France, there was these crazy guys that went and killed the cartoonists. Remember Charlie Hebdo? They killed the cartoonists. And they had a video of these guys on the street after they did it, and they were holding their guns, and they were yelling out in Arabic, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, over and over. Right? And Wolf Blitzer had CNN and 3 white guy experts. And one of them is named Bob. Now, Bob is an expert in Arabs. His name is Bob Baer. Bob is an expert in Arabs and the Arabic language and Islam. Why? Because Bob was in the CIA for 35 years. us is that we hate. Everybody, we have a very loving culture. Which means our cousins. Which, when we're being serious, you know, the children of Isaac and Ishmael, we mean our cousins, you know. We're very, very similar, you know, big nose, crazy mom, hairy, men and women, hairy, you know. The only difference is they're chosen by God, and we are chosen by the FBI. That's the only difference. Other than that. And yes, we Palestinians and Lebanese were very similar, but we have some differences. Let me tell you something. Our Lebanese brothers and sisters, I live in Europe. So we have a Lebanese brother and sister, we have Yemeni brothers and sisters. Yemenis, I'm not ashamed to say it, are my favorite Arabs in the world. Yes. Because they're the original Arabs. Okay, we all speak Arabic, but some guy from Yemen left Yemen like 3,000 years ago. He started walking over here. He had a lot of wives along the way, and then now we all speak Arabic. Sometimes my Lebanese, Syrian, even Palestinian, but they give their kids white names. They think it's going to help them. This is my daughter, Samantha. This is my daughter, Angelica. I'm like, her name is Angelica Tawfiq Abdurrahim. It's not going to help her. I don't know why you think it's going to help her. Yemenis don't do that. Yemenis don't do that. You go where Khaled and I live, you go find a little Yemeni guy, you go in my neighborhood, find a little 6-year-old Yemeni kid, say, what's your name? You're like, oh, yeah, you are going to be proud of your culture. You are going to be very proud of your culture. You are never going to get a job, but you will be the proudest Arab at the unemployment office. The Yemenis are our backbone. They are our North Star. They are. And the Lebanese have their own talents. If the Arab world were a corporation, you know, we have a CEO and a COO, and the Lebanese would be our chief marketing officer. The Lebanese are unbelievable at marketing. Okay? I live with Lebanese people, you know, they're great at marketing. Before I say that, I live in Dearborn. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dearborn, Lebanon. Yeah. They are from the south. They follow our brother in the south. You know how I'm talking. We can't say it out loud. But you know how I'm talking. It can be confusing in Dearborn because I've been in Dearborn for 25 years. I know all the families, I know everybody. Sometimes it can be awkward. I was in a restaurant about 10 years ago in Dearborn, and my waiter was this young Arab kid, and he was a punk, man. He was just a punk. He's 18 years old. I used to be like that, but I just couldn't handle it. You know, and he was doing a bad job. I would order a Coke, he brings me a coffee, I order salad, he brings me a soup, just messing everything up. And so I called him over. I said, come here. He said, yeah. Like that, Dearborn. I said, what's your name? He said, Muhammad Ali Hassan Nasrallah. I said, you know what? You are doing a great job. I want you to tell everyone in your family that Ahmed Azah said you're doing a great job. Let's take a selfie. Let's do a video. Because listen, I got enough drama in my life, all right? The American government hates me. The Canadian government hates me now. All right? I do not want to turn on Al-Manar TV one day. And I'll be watching the speech. That's to America. That's to Israel. And that's to who is this guy? Ahmed Azah. But our Lebanese people there are marketers. I'll tell you, man. I lived in Dearborn for 20. They always tell me I will be Muslim to Beirut. We are the bridge between the East and the West. We are the Paris. You guys could say that? We are the Paris. Beirut. Now, nobody tells you that the lights go out in Beirut. Nobody, that's not part of the marketing package. All right? And I've read the history of Lebanon, okay? I got a master's degree in Arab studies and the history. I read the history. I know the history of Lebanon. Assassination, war, kidnapping. All that stuff happened, you know? But that's not part of the, they don't have to come to me. We are the British. So I went to Beirut, okay? I went to go do a show there. And I landed there and I went to my hotel. Now, I don't know if you know this, but there are no hotels in Beirut that are 5-star. No. 7 stars, 8 stars, 10 stars, 25 stars here in So I went to my hotel. It was nighttime when I got there, like 11-hour flight. I'm going out to see some friends, so I want to take a shower. I get into the shower, it's nighttime, and the lights go off. Now it's pitch black, I'm in the shower, the water's attacking me, I don't know where anything is, I don't have any clothes on. I'm scared, okay? And I read the history of nobody told me why the lights go out. I don't know why the lights go out. I didn't know it's just corruption. They couldn't tell me that, okay? I don't know why. I read the history, war, assassination, kidnapping. I don't know what it means when the lights go out, okay? Israel's bombing Beirut, Hezbollah attacked Beirut. I don't know what it means, okay? I have done shows in every place in Palestine, every refugee camp, everywhere. You know what? The lights are on 24 hours a day. So I don't know what it means when the lights go out. So I'm freaking out. There's a generator, so like 60 seconds later, the lights came on. I finish my shower, I go down to the front desk. I said to the guy, excuse me, and I brought my American passport because you always get better service. I said, excuse me. Yes, monsieur. في دولة عربية، Yes, monsieur. I said, well, there's a problem with my room. Yes, monsieur. I said, well, the lights went out. Yes, monsieur. I said, well, maybe you don't understand me. I said, the lights, they went out. I would like a different room. And he said, there's nothing wrong with your room, monsieur. Welcome to The next day I was walking around Beirut. Anyone here lived in Beirut before? I'm sure a lot of you did, right? The next day I was walking around Beirut, and I'm very Palestinian, okay? I always wear Palestinian stuff. I was wearing my kafir, walking around Beirut. And I didn't know where I was going, I just was walking around. I ended up in a neighborhood called Mar and Khair in Beirut. And I'm wearing my kafir in Mar and Khair in Beirut. Now it turns out that there's some people who live in that neighborhood that do not like us very much. I didn't know that. I thought everybody liked us. So I'm walking with my kafir, and this Lebanese guy walks up to me, very impressive. اللي حضرتك فلسطيني! So I got excited to اللي من أني مخيم. That's right. I told him, Dearborn, Michigan, USA. I started realizing there's a lot of differences between Lebanese and Palestinians. It's not your fault, it's our fault. Okay, 75 years of occupation has messed us up. We're just different, it's had a big effect on us. Okay, these borders are fake, but they've had real consequences for us. 75 years of occupation just messed us up a little bit. We're different. Lebanese people are much more cool, much more fun, having a good time. We're just different. We get straight to the point. We tell the truth a lot more quickly. We don't have time for all this kind of stuff. Like Lebanese, you were a Lebanese lady and a Lebanese lady and a Lebanese lady. Yeah. What's your name? Then don't raise your hand. I'll do another one. It's okay. Who? There's 50,000 Lebanese people. No one else raise their hand. What's your name again? Nisreen. Nisreen, how in Lebanese Arabic, how do you say he called me on the phone? How do you say it? Al-Fandi. It's so soft and nice. Al-Fandi. Do you know how Palestinians say it? ضربني التليفون. هو التليفون. سلحني تليفون. Everything becomes violent for us after 75 years. Lebanese women, they love the word wow. 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 They love it. Palestinian women, 75 years of occupation has had a little effect on them. They use the word wow, but it comes out a little bit more negative. 75 years, Did you see Rana in the wedding the other day? Yeah, I saw her. مش واو. مش واو, مش قد واو, ما شفناش واو يعني. Or they see Netanyahu on TV. Wow, masnafo. Everything negative. You ever been to a Lebanese wedding? Oh my God, they're having fun. They're singing Faris Karam songs about tight clothes and short skirts, and they're dancing, and they're having a good time. You ever been to a Palestinian? Every Palestinian wedding takes about 35, 45 minutes to turn into a full protest march demonstration. Okay? Our weddings, they start out normal, The Arsan come in, then 45 minutes later, هبات النار والبارود يرنع وطيب شباب يا وطن نتمنى. What the hell? I thought we were supposed to be having a wedding. In a Lebanese wedding, the father of the bride comes out during dinner. Everybody, أهلا وسهلا فيكم. For the wedding of Pierre and Juliana. And we are so happy you are here with us. And we want you to dance and eat and have a good time. We are in Lebanon. We are in Beirut. Come to a Palestinian wedding, the father of the bride comes out. Everybody, welcome to our meeting. We'd like to welcome you all here to the wedding of Nidal and Kifah. And we are so happy you are here with us. And next year, in Jerusalem. You're like, all right, man. Calm down. You're obviously having a flashback or something. But that's why we're here tonight. To celebrate our culture. To celebrate this wonderful community that has come together. To make sure this culture and faith and traditions keep going forever, man. I'm going to tell you something. When white people came to Canada and stole this country, they never thought that in 2024 there would be thousands of Muslims raising $80 million for a school. They never had that. That was not part of their plan. That's not what Edmund, is that what this place named after? Some guy named Edmund? I don't know. But that is not what they thought. That's why we're here. To celebrate who we are, to celebrate our culture. I'm leaving in a few minutes. I gotta go in a few minutes. For those of you, Jolie, I don't know if you know this, when Arabs say they're leaving, it means like another 35 or 40. This thing is supposed to be over at 7:30. You got used to it? Yeah, you're one of us. Julie. Oh, you say Janet? Oh, you are. Oh, you start saying it about other white people? Yeah. You fell in hard. That's why we're here. But I'm gonna go in a minute. I'm gonna teach you all. You probably know this already. I'm teaching Alan and other people some parts of our culture. All the sound people in the back, some parts of our culture. We have a very beautiful part of our culture. Okay, it's called. We have two parts of our culture. I'm going to teach all the white people in here. It's the first thing is a saying, and the other one is a tradition called start leaving. Okay, it works like this. The first, where's Alan? Bring Alan back out. The first one is the saying. Hey, Alan. The first one is the saying. It says, we all know it. It says, Ahlan wa sahlan. It means welcome, it means we love you. Let's all say it to Alan. 1, 2, 3. Ahlan wa sahlan. Ahlan wa sahlan means you're one of us. We want to make your life easy. Welcome. Ahlan wa sahlan. Let's all say it to him one more time. 1, 2, 3. Ahlan wa sahlan. In fact, for the first 3 hours that somebody is at my dad's house, he only says, Ahlan wa sahlan. You have a beautiful house. Ahlan wa sahlan. The food is so good. Ahlan wa sahlan. Your kids are so smart. Ahlan wa sahlan. Especially Ahmed. Ahlan wa sahlan. Then there comes a time around 10:30, 11 o'clock, where all the men are sitting in the salon. You have this room in your house, the salon. This is the room that nobody's allowed to go into ever. It gets vacuumed every day for no reason. It's covered in plastic all the time. You know what I'm talking about? It looks like a mafia murder is about to happen in that room. And all the men are sitting in the salon, and it got late. It's like 10:30, 11 o'clock. They've already done everything. They had dinner, dessert, coffee, tea, baklava, visit. They talked about the Palestinians and the Jews. Somebody said poetry. It's getting late. And nobody's saying anything anymore. Everybody's silent. And my dad leans back, and he leans forward, and he says, Ahlan. Now this Ahlan wa sahlan does not mean, welcome to my house. This means, it's time to go. This is the only time we don't tell the truth. It's time to go. And the other Arab guy sitting next to my dad, he understands what's going on. So he stands up, he looks at my dad, and he says, you know, it's getting late. We should go. And my dad lies to him. No! Stay! Sleep on! It's a lie. When we lie, because we love each other. By the way, you can't do this with white people, okay? One day my dad invited the white neighbor over to the house, and he got up and he says, you know, it's getting late, we should go. And my dad said, no, stay. And the white guy said, no, okay, fine. 5 minutes later, he's like, I really gotta go. My dad said, no, sit down. So 10 minutes later, my dad said, get the hell out of my house. Don't you understand in our culture when we say stay, it means look. So this guy that was sitting next to my dad, he understands what's going on, so he calls his wife in the room. He says, Rania, let's start leaving. That's how you do it in our culture, right? You can't just leave. It's rude. It takes 15, 20, 35 minutes, takes a while. So they sit back down, they go through some more stuff, then about 10 minutes later, the mom sends the kid in the room. Hey, Mama, Mama says she's ready to go. He's like the UN ambassador back and forth. And then finally, they leave. Start leaving. Got it? Got it? Understood, Alan? Give a thumbs up. That's what it means. Start. That's why there's still Palestinians in Palestine today. And that's why they're staying in Gaza too. Because the Israeli government said, we are the Israelis and you have to go. And the Palestinians said, okay, let me start leaving. It takes a long time. We're here to celebrate that. The strength of our people in Gaza who are not going anywhere. The strength of our communities here who are keeping our traditions alive. The strength of our unity of our community, which has been shown so brightly in the last 110 days. I don't know if any of you were worried that the Arab and Muslim communities might have lost Palestine or lost their connection to each other. But we've all been reminded that that connection is stronger than it has ever been. And it never went anywhere. And so we have to celebrate our culture and we have to celebrate who we are and keep it alive. And celebrate institutions like this school. So whatever you gave tonight, give a little bit more. I saw the cars in the parking lot. All doing very well. Give a little bit more. We have to stand up and be proud of each other. You know, I wrote a book called Being Palestinian Makes Me Smile. If anyone wants to buy this book, you can get it from me over there. We'll take some pictures, maybe me, Sean, we'll hang out over there. Take pictures with everybody. Okay, the book is $30 Canadian. Okay? Don't bargain with me, don't do any of the stuff that Arabs do. They come up to me all the time, so how much did it cost you to print the book? Just shut up. We have to support and love each other. I know we support and love each other, but I don't think we tell each other. I don't think we tell each other. We have to tell each other all the time. You know, right now, let's do a little exercise. I want you to look at somebody on your table. Look at somebody on your table. Look at them and tell them, thank you for coming tonight. That's right. Now, I want you to look at these people and tell them, I'm proud of you. Now I want you to look at these people and tell them, I love you. I love you. That's right. Because we have to love each other and be proud of each other no matter what. That's the first reason I came here to Edmonton tonight. The second reason I came here to Edmonton tonight is because when Farhan called me and said, will you come into a room full of beautiful Arabs and Muslims here in Edmonton, full, hundreds and hundreds of people, come and talk to them and make them laugh? I said, yes, I will, because nothing makes me happier than being around our people. And I especially, that's right. And I especially said yes now, because now, this summer, last summer, I turned 46 years old, and I am still single. Single, that's right. Where are they sitting, Chef? Are they I mean, it's everything's still. I don't know. Should I get my restaurant? Am I supposed to get married? I'm supposed to have a lot of kids. That's what we're Palestinians do. You know, we have a lot of kids. That's why they can't get rid of us in Gaza. Really, you find somebody in Gaza, how many kids do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How old are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's true, the hospitals right now are full of martyrs, but in 9 months from now, they're going to be full of mothers having more babies. Because that's what we're going to do. So I don't know if I want to get married. I mean, it scares me a little bit. I don't know. Okay, raise your hand if you're here with your spouse and you've been married for at least 20 years. Raise your hand. 20? That's a lot. Okay, hands down. Hands down, hands down, hands down. 30 years? Okay, hands down, hands down, hands down, hands down. Hands down. 40? Okay, wait, hands down. 50? You raise your hand again, sir? Where is she? She left? What? She went to sleep. No, I need somebody who's here. Right here. Somebody's here. 50? MashaAllah. 51? Mala. What's your name, sir? Abu Farid? What's your first name? Let me just talk. I know everybody knows everybody. Abdul Latif? What's your name, ma'am? Maryam? Abdul Latif with Maryam. من لبنان? Okay. How long? 51 years? 50. 50? That's a lot, man. Ooh. Let me tell you what scares me about being married, okay? I don't know. I'm Abdul Latif and Khalid Maryam. I don't know. Never met them before. But I know exactly how they talk about it. Because if you meet Arabs who've been married for a very long time and you ask them how they met, the story is never good for the man. It's never good. If you ask Amr Abdul Latif, you're saying, tell us about the first time you met Khalid Maryam, he says what Arab men say. The first time I saw Maryam, she was the most beautiful girl I have ever seen in my life, ever. She walked like a deer. She, like the moon, and the other deer are just the stars. Her eyes are the eyes of a cow, which in our culture is very beautiful. And I saw her, and I knew I want to be with her forever. This is so beautiful. And you say to Khalid Maryam, tell us about the first time you met Abdul Latif. And Khalid Maryam says what Arab women say. What? The first time I met Abdul Latif, I never thought I would end up with somebody like that. But he grew on me. Ooh, heavy. It's the best you can hope for. I don't know if I'm going want to get married. I don't know. But if I ever do get married, it has to be to an Arab woman, Palestinian, Lebanese, somebody who understands what we've been going through for the last 75 years. It has to be. Because if you're with a Palestinian woman, she understands your pain. Like if I'm standing in the kitchen, I'm holding a cup of coffee, I haven't said anything for like 3 hours, just looking out the window, like a crazy person. And then I just say one word. Clap. See what I mean? You know what I mean, right? If they don't think there's dogs outside, they don't think you're hallucinating. A Palestinian woman comforts you. Yes, I do. For those of you who don't speak Arabic, I don't know if you know, clap means occupier. That's what it means. That is the actual Google translation. The last thing I'll tell you is this, because we've got to go with time. Like 1 o'clock? Okay. All right, start me. I don't know. The last thing I'll say is this. I go to Palestine all the time. By the way, I never say that I visit Palestine. I always say that I return to Palestine, because we're all going to return one day very soon. We are going to be on the beaches of Gaza. We are going to be on the capital of Jerusalem, all of us. I don't mean just us Palestinians. We're going to be there, all of us together, in our liberated homeland. It's coming very soon. And we're going to go there, and we're going to build another school like you're building here. We're going to build it right in the old city. That's it. It is going to happen. I've never been as optimistic as I am now. Never. Because these Israelis, let me tell you something. They're not as smart as they try to tell everybody they are. They do not know what they're doing. Pointing to a calendar and telling us this is where the terrorists are. That guy named Khamis, he's in big trouble. They do not know what to do with us. They've run out of ideas. They will never get rid of us. In 1948, raise your hand if you're a refugee from 1948 or the child or the grandchild of a refugee from 1948. See, that's just like, oh, me too. They got rid of a lot of us, 800,000, almost 1 million of us, but they didn't get everybody. 150,000 Palestinians remained in what became the new state of Israel. Now, if those 150,000, if they grew only at the normal average global birth rate, after 75 years, they should be about 500,000, 600,000 people. Do you know how many they are? 1.9 million. You cannot get rid of us. We have a lot of babies. That's right. You can't get rid of them. They drop bombs, we drop babies. I mean, 2,000 years ago in Palestine, a woman got pregnant without anybody touching her. What did you think was going to happen when we start touching each other? Oh, sorry. We have a lot of babies. He's laughing. So they cannot get rid of us. They have tried everything. You've got to feel bad for these people. They have tried a Nakba. They have tried policies. Now they're trying another Nakba. And it is not working out for them. I've never been more optimistic than I am now. And they don't know what they're doing. Whenever I go to Palestine, I go into our airport. Now, some of you call it Ben Gurion Airport or Tel Aviv Airport. Please stop doing that. In Arabic, it's called Matar al-Lid. And we call it Matar al-Lid not because we're trying to be cute, but because we had an airport there before they stole it from us. It's the exact airport that we had. Akhaduha mafrusha, like my mom says. It's everything. Okay, fully furnished. And now that we're all family here in Edmonton, I can tell you a secret. My parents are both Palestinian refugees. My father is Christian and my mother is Muslim. That's called the haram combination. This is the result. Anyway, so doing comedy on a Friday night. Now, for those of you who don't know, when we Palestinians arrive at Matar al-Lid, there is like a VIP room for us. And we can stay there as long as we want. And last time I was there, I was in the VIP room for 12 hours. And finally, it was my turn to talk to the soldier. I don't know if any of you have ever gone through Israeli immigration, but it's the same questions all the time. And he said to me, "What is your father's name?" I said, "George." He said, "What is your father's father?" I said, "Yes." Now, even he knows that that's two super duper Christian names. I mean, you could not get more. You could open a church tomorrow. You could raise $80 million for a church with George and Elias. Then he said to me, what is your mazhab name? I said, Ana. He said, what is your mazhab fazak name? He got confused. He said, so all you Christian or Muslim? I said, hey man, I'm not going to tell you. You have no business. I ain't going to tell you. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't care. It doesn't matter. He said, no, I need to put it in the computer. All you Christian or Muslim. I said, listen man, in my house we celebrate everything. All right? Christmas, Eid, Easter, Eid again. You know what? We even celebrated Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah. Put you in your computer. Is that better for me? Put you in your computer and I don't got to deal with this nonsense anymore. And he started laughing and I started laughing and he said to me, where are you from? I said, I am from Nazareth, Palestine, like Jesus. I said to him, where are you from? He said, I am from Jerusalem. I said, no, where are you from? Everybody have a good night. I love you. I'm proud of you. See you soon.
To conclude this evening, I have the pleasure of introducing Sheikh Sadat for our closing remarks and dua. Sheikh Sadat has a Master's in Social Work degree and is a registered social worker. He graduated with Bachelor's of Arts degree in Islamic theology from the University of Georgia. Over the last 22 years, Sheikh Sadat has worked in different capacities in counseling and therapeutics. He has extensive experience working in government agencies in Edmonton and around the world. He is currently the resident imam of the Edmonton Islamic.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before we leave, I want everyone to look to my right here, Dr. Farhan. I want to say thank you to Dr. Farhan and the entire committee that organized this amazing event. Can you give them a big round of applause, please? Also to our amazing speakers here, Sean King, Khalid Baydoun, and Brother Ayman, Wallahi, and last applause, MashaAllah. Also Son Cherry, you lit it up, you lit it up. I'm just going to end it up just by saying this much. What Gaza inspired us is that while they may be able to destroy schools in Gaza, we will in their name continue building schools all over Canada and Edmonton in the name of Gaza, in the name of Pakistan. Inshallah. Inshallah, make dua. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما اعطيت يا رب العالمين. We ask يا رب العالمين to bless this community, Ya Allah. May Allah subhanahu, may you make this a society, this place a place of nurturing, fostering education and power, Ya Allah. May we carry the responsibility of being Muslims and carry the message of inviting all people to a better way of living that's based on peace, love, and justice, Ya Allah. We ask Ya Rabbil Alameen to bless our leaders of this community and the people of this community and the children of this community, and let them be the future leaders for all of the people of Canada. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala khayri khalqi Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد اهدنا الصراط المستقيم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
متابعينا الكرام، وصلنا نهاية الحفل العشاء الخير الذي نظمته الأكاديمية الإسلامية في مدينة إدمونتون لأجل جمع التبرعات لمشروع المدرسة الإسلامية الجديدة. شكرا لمتابعتكم والى اللقاء في بث مباشر آخر، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.